This is Driving Solutions, exclusively on CBTNews.com.
In the midst of today's financial climate, we're seeing a resurgence in incentives and rebates, but what does this mean for the landscape of consumer spending? Today, the Executive Vice President and General Manager of OfferLogix, Mr. Aaron Bickart, is here to tell us more about this. So Aaron, thank you so much for joining us once again here on the show.
Yeah, thanks, Jim, for having me. It's always great to be here in Atlanta.
Sure. So cars are filling back up on the lots, as we've seen over the course of the last 6 or 8 months or such, and incentives are back because we knew that would happen, right?
Yeah.
We just couldn't help ourselves in the industry, right?
Well, what they said, 3-4 years ago, that we will never ever give out incentives the way we were and never subvent anything.
And we knew that was a lie.
Yeah, well, we can't help ourselves.
That's exactly, we can't.
I always tell my kids, why we take history?
What?
So we don't make the same mistakes
That's
again.
right.
But
That's right.
we're still
That's
making, we went right back to incentives. I mean, there's 0% APR now for 72 months.
Right.
There's a crazy
12 grand on the hood of the pickup truck.
12 grand, $7,500 on
crazy.
EVs. I mean, people are now getting rebates and incentives like no ever before.
Yeah,
exactly.
For sure.
Yeah.
So consumers are worried about credit today. Obviously, inflation's rising, cash flows seem to be limited. What is OfferLogix offering its clients that can help, with this effect on consumers?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. Well, especially with inflation. As you know, inflation has gone sky high since COVID. Eggs are more money, milk's more things. Cars are even more expensive. I mean, look what Stellantis did. They raised all their prices and now it's suffering. Now they're going to be reducing their prices.
That's right.
But what we have done is we came out with a new solution at OfferLogix. A lot of people don't know about. We've now ingested all the inventory throughout the United States for almost every dealership's rooftop. And now we're able to take all the inventory and be able to roll that back into the exact penny perfect payment that there is out there today. So imagine now when a consumer is online or in a dealership or wherever they are in marketplace, and they want to be able to find that penny perfect payment or credit perfect payment based on their credit score. We now have that inventory and we're able to roll that inventory back based on that consumer. So if a consumer goes online and say, I am looking for let's just make it up real quick, a Honda Accord, right? And I have $2,500 to put down, and I have a FICO score of, let's just say 705. Where can I find that car? Well, as we know, every dealership prices their cars on the website. And we know if they're pricing it at MSRP, we're pricing it at $500 above invoice, or just at invoice to match Honda's map pricing. Well, we can roll that inventory back and say, okay, your payment is exactly here, and it's going to be at this particular dealership. And we can do that in real time for all our channel partners.
That's
across the board. And what that has done for our channel partners now is they're able to go sell that to all their dealers too.
Okay. So that's pretty much how your partners are using the data today.
Well, that's one way.
Okay.
That's only one way. Okay. That's a brand new way.
Okay.
We're just coming to market with that now. But the other way that they're also doing it is, let me talk to you about one of the largest dealer groups in the United States. I mean, a lot of companies don't know that we actually power Lithia's LadTech solution.
Wow.
And LadTech is their internal marketing solution internally. So imagine now having all the penny perfect payments in the go-to-market strategy. So one thing about Lithia is all their GMs go to market autonomously. So what that means is there's not really a push down method from the top. And that means each GM in their dealerships can go to market how they want to go to market. Now, of course, they got to make profit.
Of course.
Brian and everybody at Lithia is going to be like, hey, you know what? You're losing money. We can't go to market that way. So what we have done with our data, providing the penny perfect payments, is able to give a unified message across all the different mediums of advertising for Lithia. What does that mean exactly? So it gives the Amazon experience. Imagine that personalized experience for all the Lithia stores. So we're now fully integrated into not only LadTech, but we're integrated into DealerOn, we're Dealer Process, Dealer.com, we're integrated into Team Velocity Marketing, we're integrated into all these different stream marketing. We're now integrated across all their preferred method. So when a consumer goes online, they see an email, or they go online and do a digital retailing platform, or when they go in the store, now everything matches and gives a great customer experience at the end of the day.
Which is what it's all about. It's all about that, having a great customer experience, right? I mean, that's what every dealer is shooting for.
It's the ultimate customer experience that I call it. Now, I stole that from BMW because they call it the ultimate driving machine. What I mean? But at the end of the day, I call it the ultimate customer experience. Because at the end of the day, we're all trying to serve one person. It's the consumer. consumer.
Right.
You know, and that unique consumer is all unique, but they want to make sure they have a great experience.
That's right.
Where they can actually buy a vehicle, you know, with the exact penny perfect payment, what that was online, make it a credit perfect payment, and when they walk in the store, they want to make sure they have the Amazon experience.
Yeah.
You know, as you know, we talked about this before on our shows. You don't go on Amazon and say, oh, here, I want to buy this, you know, let's just say shoes.
Yeah.
You know, and it comes out $99. So sorry, that wasn't really $99.
Yeah.
It was really $1. It was $105. No, it's
not going to work.
It's not going to work.
No.
So, and they get it delivered within, you know, 2 days back to their house. In some markets that day.
The same day. We have it here in Atlanta. You could order something, and you know, a few hours later, a vehicle pulls up and drops it off. It's amazing.
It's unbelievable. Right, so what we're trying to do is bring that same experience to the auto industry, and OfferLogix offers that experience for the channel partner all the way down to the dealership level.
Yeah, so they're doing this with all the other products. Bridget and I just purchased a home here in Atlanta, and you know, we called our mortgage banker or broker or what have you, and he said, okay, here's the numbers, here's how it shakes out, this is what you qualify for, here's the monthly payment, and great, we go through the mortgage process pretty quickly, and what do? We do the whole thing online.
That's it.
Why can we do that with homes, right? That costs a lot of money, and yet Amazon can do it, but in the dealership business, we're still kind of struggling with this process, right?
Yeah, well, you know, because, you know, I would say the reason why we're struggling is really quick is because the customer still has to feel the car, touch the car, drive the car. Not all of us.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm going to say, you know, let's say 80%. I'm going to follow the 80-20 rule.
Sure.
You know, just to make it simple. That way I don't get in trouble by anybody. I said 95%. I'm just going to follow the 80-20 rule to make it simple. 80% of us still want to drive the car because do we sit in the seat properly? Is the air conditioning right? Is the ergonomics of the air conditioning proper? The radio and all that type of stuff.
They want to experience
so
that.
We still want to do that. But at the end of the day, we need to educate and train our salespeople and our dealers on how to do this. And I think there's a little fight there. But I think as you see moving forward, I think things are going to switch, you know, over the next 5 to 6 years.
We're getting closer.
Yeah, we're getting closer.
Right. And I think OfferLogix and companies like yours helps that process in a very big way.
Yeah. Well, we not only help, but we're empowering the channel partners all the way down to the dealership, ultimately to the consumer.
Sure.
But the other thing is we also have some state laws. You know, they're still asking for some wet ink, you know, on the downward statements in different areas, depending on where you are in the United States. So we got to figure that stuff out too, where we become more electronic too as well.
Right. There always seems to be something new going on with OfferLogix. I mean, you just touched on one of them. Do you have any other big announcements? I mean, you're always coming in here with some other
we always have big announcements. But you know, I think the big one right now is you know, that we power majority of the channel partners today.
Okay.
I'm not going to say we power all of them.
Yeah.
What I'm saying to you when I say power is that they're ingesting our data today.
Okay.
Not with Lithia's data and some other people's data too as well. Okay. So what does that mean exactly? That means that there's one central location to get the penny perfect payment.
Right.
And why is that important? I mean, you got to ask yourself, why is that important?
Sure.
Is that way it's the consumer experience at the end of the day? Because imagine my penny perfect payment and someone else's penny perfect payments are on there, and it's not matching at the end of the day. So my feed is completely different than their feed coming in. So now that we're powering majority of the channel partners, and I would say by the end of the year, if we're not powering at least 95% of them, some way or somehow.
Really? Wow. That's huge market share.
Yeah, well, I would say a majority of the market share would be in the OfferLogix hands for who's powering that information.
Sure.
But think about this for a second. If there's like 45 vendors out there that are powering majority of the dealerships out there, and there's 350 million Americans, right? And they're getting all their payments and incentive data from one provider. It gives the ultimate customer experience at the end of the day.
That's right.
So that is my goal, is to make sure that the consumers have the best experience possible, and at the end of the day, it's completely personalized for them too as well.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
It seems the dealers that I'm talking to had a little struggle in January and February of this new year, although March seemed to came back pretty strong, and of course April seems to be going pretty good. Is that what you hear out there?
Well, you got to remember, Jim, this is the car business. People forgot that January and February were always slow down months.
That's right.
You know, if you think about that for a second, you know, before COVID, right, we always complained about January, February, right? And then March was the selling season in April, right?
And also, if they're comparing it to last January and February.
You can't compare the last 2-3 years.
No.
You know, but if you go back to 2019, 2018, 17,
that's right.
We've always complained about January, February. I mean, there's always been a cyclical particular area going up and down. But the interest rates are higher.
I feel bad for the sales managers out there today and the desk managers and the GSMs that have to report to the dealer, and the dealer looks at it and goes, well, wait a minute, this time last year we were at this gross and this volume, you know, and then in 2022 we were at this gross and this, you know, and it's tough to sit there and take that beating.
Yeah, well, I actually don't want to take that beating. That's why I got out of the. I actually got out of. I got out of the retail. I got out of the retail side of the world. But you know, I call myself a roving retailer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I go from one retail establishment to the next, but I don't have to hear the beating up part of it.
Right.
But they forget. So we're in selling season now: March, April, May, June.
Yeah.
And then it'll slow down again July, August, and then it'll slow down a little bit more in September.
For sure.
Then pick back up October, November, December.
Yep.
And then again, we're going to have the same conversation next year. January, February is bad for us again.
Now look at that. March is coming back. So is April.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
but you know, inventory's at an all-time high again. Cars are being shipped to dealerships.
Yeah.
Incentives are back.
Yeah.
So it's a lovely.
What kind of an impact do you think the presidential election and the presidential campaigning season will have on car sales?
I don't think it'll have any impact. I don't have my 8 ball out. But I'm going to say it's not going to have any impact whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know, the big thing is rate cuts. The Fed, if they start cutting rates, I think they have more of an impact.
Sure.
You know, that way interest rates drop. I think we'll sell more cars. OEMs are going to make more money. You know, if that happens. But right now they're not making as much money. They have to spend more money.
Right.
But at the end of the day,
well, the chairman of the Fed recently, Powell, said that he's concerned. He doesn't want to drop rates because
inflation's high. Yeah, especially when it just came out.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's how. But a big thing is there's a thing called CARS. You know, combating auto retail scams that's coming out, which just got postponed to later in the year.
Yeah.
I think dealerships are going to have to be worried about that. I would say get with Michael Stanton at NEDA, make sure there's things going on there too as well.
That's right.
Fight that as much as possible because they're trying to go after 2 or 3 of the bad eggs, but not 98% of the good people.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day.
that is a very complex issue, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And actually, I'm right in line with it. So you know, at OfferLogix, we offer penny perfect payments. So when they do all their advertising and all that, I'm completely compliant with cars the way it sits today.
Right.
So I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think dealers need to fight it and make sure that the legislator does not pass it the way it sits today.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
Yep.
Aaron Bickart, Executive Vice President and General Manager of OfferLogix, company that you know. You've seen Aaron here on CBT News so many times. So thank you so much for visiting us once again here in the studio. It's great.
Thank you, Jim, for having me. Always a pleasure.
Great.
Thanks for watching Driving Solutions, exclusively on CBTNews.com.